I, 27 female, have been with my husband, 29 male, for 5 years, married for 3 of those years. Our marriage was perfect and we were so happy. It felt like our entire life was perfect. Church on Sunday, loving husband, beautiful home, all of it. A few months into our marriage, I became pregnant, and my husband and I were overjoyed, and so was the rest of our family. My husband was especially happy after finding out our baby was a boy, as he'd always told me he wanted at least one son. I even started to try to attempt to repair my relationship with my mother so our son could have a relationship with his grandparents. I had originally cut off most contact with my mother due to how she treated my brother when he married his husband, though my brother said he was all right with my decision to try to get her back in my life since he still has love for her, and my baby was her first grandchild. However, our son ended up stillborn, and it broke me. I fell into depression and even at one point considered taking my life, but my husband was there for me during all of it, and we got through the grief. Our marriage felt stronger than ever, and life started slowly feeling beautiful again, even if it no longer felt perfect. About 5 months ago, I found out I'm pregnant again, and then found out soon after that we're having triplets. My husband and I were over the moon, and he was the most doting and loving husband. Since we had always said we wanted 3 children, we agreed we wouldn't try for any more children after this. Because of our and our family's excitement for the triplets, we decided to throw a baby shower and gender reveal party. We trusted my brother with the genders of the triplets, and he bought some confetti cannons with the colored streamers inside. The baby shower went wonderfully with my parents, in-laws, my brother and his husband, and their daughter, and tons of friends and extended family. It was like a dream come true, and I was so excited for the gender reveal. I don't care what the gender of our babies was, I just wanted healthy little babies. But my husband was clearly excited for potentially 3 sons. When the time came, my husband, my brother, and I all shot a confetti cannon, and all 3 shot out pink confetti. I was so excited, and so was my brother, but my husband screamed at the top of his lungs and hit the table in front of us, hitting it so hard that it actually broke. He screamed at me that I was supposed to give him at least 1 son because I ended the life of his first one. That's when I burst into tears. I had been so broken up about our son's stillbirth, and a part of me had felt it was my fault, and now he, my husband, was the love of my life, telling me that it was. My brother immediately stepped in and tried to get my husband to calm down, but my husband shoved my brother. So my brother instead pulled me inside where I cried in the living room while my husband's mother tried to calm him down. I could hear him screaming outside about how 3 daughters is too many, how he doesn't want 4 kids, but he also wants a son. Ever since that moment, my husband has hardly talked to me. He's been sleeping in the guest room, and when we do interact, he's clearly upset and mad and tries to argue with me. I tried to talk to him about it and asked about how he'll be with our 3 daughters, but he spat at me and told me he will provide them shelter and food, but he isn't interested in daughters and doesn't plan to have a close relationship with them. That sealed the deal that I want to divorce him, and I cried myself to sleep last night. Earlier today, I confided in my mother and mother-in-law about all this, but they told me I can't divorce my husband just because he wants a son. I don't want my daughters to grow up in an unloving household where their parents constantly argue and their father doesn't love them. The moment my husband said I ended the life of our son, I felt as though I lost all love I had for him in an instant, and I don't want my daughters to be in that kind of household. However, both my mom and mother-in-law say it's just natural for men to want sons, and that at least he isn't saying he'll mistreat them. They treated this as an absolute fact and acted as though I'm just a silly little girl who doesn't know anything. I felt incredibly small and stupid. I don't know what to do. My mother and mother-in-law make me feel like maybe I'm overreacting to my husband's behavior. But my brother says this is not normal, as he and his husband are both men who absolutely love their daughter. I'm also not sure what I'll do with myself if I divorce my husband. I don't work, and I'm not sure how I'll be able to find a job that can support me and 3 babies all on my own, or how I'll make time for all of them when I have to work. I feel so lost and helpless. I'm torn on what to do because I worry divorce will be too brash of a decision and that maybe my mother and mother-in-law are right. Am I the idiot? What should I do? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. You're not divorcing him because he wants a son. You're divorcing him because he has said some truly unforgivable things. I'm so sorry about your son. Please know it wasn't your fault. Your husband, it's truly vile to say what he did, and that alone is grounds to end your marriage. Good luck, OP. Comment 2. Not the idiot, and my heart is broken for you. Lean on your brother. He and his husband sound like the only sane people in your life. Divorce your slimeball husband. Do not let him be there at the birth of your beautiful girls and get all the child support. Comment 3. Hate to break it to your husband, but it's the sperm that determines gender. He's the one who gave you 3 daughters. Not the other way around. Also, he spat at you? Get away from him, he's toxic. Now, for the update. It's been a month since I last wrote, and I wish I had better news. Things have only deteriorated between my husband and me. He's hardly home these days, and when he is, it's like walking on eggshells, trying not to set him off with anything I do or say. I've been trying to focus on my health and the babies, but the stress of everything is taking its toll. The worst day was when I found a hidden folder on our shared laptop. It was filled with communications with a fertility clinic about gender selection options. He's been researching how to ensure having a son, even looking into international clinics that would do it without question. It felt like another punch in the gut, confirming he's not interested in our daughters. The idea of divorce has been weighing on me. I met with a lawyer to understand my options, but that led to more heartbreak. My husband had already been there. The lawyer couldn't tell me much due to confidentiality, but it was clear there's a plan in motion. I felt so betrayed. I reached out to my mom and mother-in-law, hoping for support, but they just repeated the same lines about my husband needing time. They don't understand the depth of his resentment. I've never felt so alone in what should be a time of joy and preparation. I broke down at my last doctor's appointment. My OB has been a rock, thankfully. She's referred me to a therapist who specializes in prenatal and postnatal care. It's a small glimmer of hope, but I'm clinging to it. For the sake of my girls, I have to be strong. But right now, strength is in short supply. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. You're the idiot for considering divorce before even trying to communicate your feelings to your husband. Marriage is about working through issues, not just walking away when things get tough. Have you thought about how this could affect your daughters? They need a united family, and it sounds like you haven't exhausted all options to fix your relationship. Comment 2. Not the idiot at all. Your husband's obsession with having a son over appreciating your daughters is not only sexist, but also hurtful. It's clear that you've been put in an impossible situation, and seeking therapy is a healthy step forward. You're showing immense courage by prioritizing your mental health and the well-being of your daughters in such a toxic environment. Comment 3. Definitely not the idiot. It's heartbreaking that you don't have the support of your family, but it's admirable how you're handling things. You've been strong for your daughters, and finding a therapist is a great move. Your husband's actions are inexcusable, and you deserve to be in a relationship where you're valued. Don't be swayed by others minimizing your feelings. You know what's best for you and your girls. Now, for the next story. Wednesday, I received devastating news at my prenatal appointment that our baby had no heartbeat at 11 weeks. This is our second pregnancy loss, and I am distraught. My doctor advised me to go home and rest and let my body naturally release all the pregnancy contents, which took 2 days to begin. Friday afternoon, the pain started to kick in and it increased. My husband had previous plans of going to his friend's house for dinner, but I felt he should have stayed home with me and supported me through this. The pain was so intense that I was in tears and couldn't walk or sit comfortably. He bought me some ibuprofen and said he would call to check on me, but I felt that wasn't enough. My mom offered to come over and nurture me, but I declined because I wanted him to be by my side. After 4 hours of no word from him, I exploded since he hadn't come back yet. Now we are talking about divorce. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I decided to divorce my ex-husband because he went to watch a movie we had seen 3 times with his brother and cousin while I was miscarrying. Do not blame you a bit. That was the end of everything for me. Comment 2. Not the idiot. My wife almost bled to death during a miscarriage. I was at work and my 5-year-old called me. One of the worst drive homes of my life. Comment 3. Not the idiot. But you shouldn't argue with him anymore. He's not worth it. Divorce him and find someone who will respect you because it's not him. Now for the update. 2 weeks ago, I was swallowed by grief and anger. In a storm of hormones and heartbreak, I questioned if my marriage could survive the aftermath of our second pregnancy loss. I felt alone, my pain magnified by my husband's absence during those excruciating hours. I never imagined that my call for support would spiral into discussions of divorce. The days that followed were a blur of tears and tough conversations. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a realization dawned. Our relationship was hemorrhaging, much like the loss we were mourning. We needed help. So we sought counseling, both as a couple and individually. It's been intense and raw, but it's also peeled back layers of unspoken fears and resentments. Turns out my husband was drowning too, in a sea of helplessness and guilt. He admitted that leaving that night was a desperate attempt to escape a situation he felt powerless to fix. It wasn't right, and he's been remorseful. In an unexpected twist, my mother, ignoring my initial refusal, showed up that night after the dreaded 4-hour silence. She found me on the bathroom floor, a crumpled shell of myself. She wrapped me in her arms and called an ambulance. It turns out I was experiencing complications from the miscarriage and needed urgent medical attention. The doctors intervened just in time, and I was hospitalized for a couple of days. It was a wake-up call for both of us. My husband never left my side, and in the sterile light of the hospital room, we started to piece together our broken partnership. My husband's friends, the ones he was with that night, they've sent apologies too. They had no idea the gravity of my situation and have been supportive since. It doesn't change what happened, but it's a small comfort to know that they care. The community's response to my last post was a lifeline. Your stories of loss and healing, your judgments and your empathy, they carried me through the darkest moments. I'm learning that grief can be a labyrinth, but I'm not navigating it alone anymore. As for the "am I the idiot" verdict, I've realized it's not as black and white. Pain can cloud judgment, and empathy can sometimes be found in hindsight. We've decided to put the talk of divorce on hold. Our marriage is bruised, not broken. It'll take time and work, but we're committed to healing together. I'm slowly finding my footing again, leaning on the support of therapy, my husband, and the unexpected strength that comes from shared stories. Thank you, Reddit, for being a part of mine. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your mental health and healing process are paramount during such a difficult time. It's heartening to hear that you sought counseling and support instead of rushing into a decision as life-altering as divorce. The fact that you and your husband are willing to work through this together shows a commitment to your marriage and to each other's well-being. Comment 2. You're the idiot for almost giving up on your marriage without considering your husband's feelings. Grief can be blinding, but he was also hurting. It's not just about you. Thankfully, you came to your senses and sought help. But remember, communication is key, especially in times of crisis. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Loss can create a rift in the strongest of relationships, and it's admirable that you both realized that you were not alone in your pain. It's often easier to shut down than to open up in times of suffering, but you chose the harder and healthier path. Therapy and seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Your decision to heal together is brave and sets a positive example for others in similar situations. Now, for the next story. I, 26-year-old male, and my fiancé, 26-year-old female, have been together for over 5 years now. In the first 3 years of the relationship, our intimacy was amazing. We were each other's first and explored our likes, dislikes together. However, in the last few years, it's almost non-existent. It happened out of nowhere. She started being disinterested in intimacy. At first, I thought it was a phase, but it has been the case for 2 years now. I am always the one who initiates and gets rejected in the end. I asked her if there is a problem and if there is anything I can do better, but she said there is nothing going on. She rejects getting her hormones checked. Mind you, she is not on birth control. I tried to give her space for months, but it did not work either. Every other aspect of our relationship is good, at least for me. She also agreed to it when I asked. I have a relatively high libido, and I started going nuts for the last few months now. The only time we have intimacy is when I earn it. Yes, it's a reward for our anniversary day and other small occasions. I do not feel desired nor wanted, and it's the most important part of intimacy for me. I do not want to have intimacy with someone who is disinterested. Long story short, after having one last talk with her, I told her I want to break up, which she did not welcome. She told me it would get better once we are married, even tried to initiate intimacy at that very moment. To be honest, I do not think that will get any better. It's like thinking that marriage will get better and every problem will be resolved once you have children. Since then, mutual friends, my and her family, and other people have been criticizing me. They even call me sex-crazed. At first, I have been trying to ignore the comments, but it has gotten so extensive that I doubt my choice. Am I the idiot here? Edit. Thank you for all the kind advice and messages. I read a lot of men had it even worse after marriage. Some people wrote to me explaining their current situation after marriage. I will not listen to the words of mutual friends and family. I understood that I made the right decision here. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If your bedroom is already dead and you're not even married, you're right not expect it to improve with marriage. Or kids, lol. Not the idiot for breaking up with her, as you can do so at any time for any reason. It's your life, not the idiot. Comment 2. She refused to go to a doctor and only gives you intimacy as a reward. Then she tries to say it will magically be different once you're married and tries to frick you when you say you want to break up. She's lying. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Why is she using it as a way to control you to do certain things so you earn it? Kinda dumb. Now, for the update. I never imagined writing this update, but here we are, almost a year since I made one of the toughest decisions of my life. I'll cut to the chase. My ex-fiancé and I are not back together, but our story didn't end as you might expect. After our breakup, things got pretty rough. I won't lie, it was a lonely, grueling few months. I dove into work and personal projects to keep my mind occupied, but the silence at home was deafening. Then, something unexpected happened. 3 months post-breakup, my ex reached out to me. I was prepared for a barrage of emotions, maybe even an argument, but instead, we had a conversation that changed everything. She tearfully admitted that she had been struggling with deep-seated issues surrounding intimacy, stemming from past trauma she had never told me about. The pressure of marriage, expectations from our relationship, it all became a trigger, and she couldn't bear to face it, let alone talk about it. After we split, she sought therapy, something she had been resistant to before. It wasn't easy for her, and it took a lot of courage, but she was getting help and making progress. That call wasn't about getting back together. It was her way of explaining, apologizing, and offering me closure. Life has a funny way of teaching us about compassion. I learned that my ex-fiancé's behavior wasn't about me. She was fighting her own battle. We started talking more as friends and rebuilt some of the trust and companionship that had been lost. Now she's in a much better place. She's not only addressing her past trauma, but also advocating for mental health awareness. I've grown too, understanding that intimacy issues are often symptoms of deeper problems. Our mutual friends and family have seen the change in both of us. Those who criticized my decision have come to see the complexity of the situation, and some have apologized. I've forgiven them. They didn't know, and neither did I. As for my romantic life, I've started dating again. I met someone incredible who understands my past and supports me. We're taking it slow, but it feels right. This journey taught me the importance of open communication and professional help when dealing with personal issues. It's bittersweet, but I'm grateful for where we've both ended up. To anyone going through something similar, know that it's okay to choose your happiness, and it's okay to not have all the answers. Sometimes, the hardest choices lead to the best outcomes. for everyone involved. Now, for the comments. Comment 1. You're the idiot for ignoring your ex's trauma and moving on so quickly. Healing takes time, and it seems like you didn't give them a chance to work through their issues before you started dating someone new. Relationships require patience and understanding, especially when dealing with past trauma. Comment 2. Not the idiot. It takes a lot of maturity to offer closure and work towards a friendship after a broken engagement. It's commendable that you both sought personal growth instead of getting stuck in a cycle of blame or resentment. Kudos to you for learning the value of communication and encouraging others to seek happiness. Comment 3. Not the idiot. You've shown great empathy by rebuilding a friendship with your ex despite the breakup. It's essential to support each other's journey towards healing, and it's clear that you both are doing so. Also, finding someone who understands your past and helps you move forward is a healthy step. Keep fostering those open lines of communication. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.